But first, Blessing Iwuchukwu tells us how the San Antonio Zoo is working to bring the Texas horned lizard back after it disappeared from parts of the state.
The San Antonio Zoo had a baby boom this summer. Take a look at these tiny little hatchlings. In a matter of years, they'll look like this. And this fall, they'll be released out into the wild, and they play a huge impact on the Texas ecosystem.
Come.
It looks like playtime.
Go find it.
But 5-year-old Grin here is putting in some work.
This is a game of purpose.
Yeah, it is. Grin, come.
That's scat. It's what Chris says Grin's sniffing out.
Good girl. Heel.
It's basically poop, and it comes from the Texas horned lizard, the state reptile.
We'll be walking around and people are like, man, that's such a cool dog. And I'm like, yeah, she works for the zoo. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, she finds lizard poop. And they're like, what? This is the lizard poop that she finds.
Sounds strange, right? And pretty gross as well. But there's a method to the madness.
You know, conservation and conservation canines are really taking leaps forward. And in the last decade, I've seen canines take on an important role in conservation.
This is Paul's lab.
Oh.
So, yeah. That's why she's hanging out at this door. She knows where she's at.
Chris and Grin work with Paul. His group partners with the San Antonio Zoo. He trains dogs to smell horned lizards, their eggs, or their poop, which is hard to spot on acres of land like this. And that role is important because...
Yeah, so horned lizards are currently state listed as threatened.
And the folks here, like Cameron at the zoo, are trying to change that.
So our goal in bringing them back is we start by getting a breeding colony of healthy adults. Hopefully they get along. Hi, Betsy.
You could say they got along pretty well this year. She says there were 35 hatchlings, the most they have bred in-house since the project started.
Very cute watching them eat.
Once these little guys get a bit bigger later this year, they're out of here and into the wild.
Our project at the San Antonio Zoo is mostly working with private landowners who are willing to take the land that they own and use it for conservation purposes.
For horned lizards specifically, she says that means getting rid of fire ants, making sure they have the right balance of vegetation on the landscape, and making sure there are plenty of harvester ants, which the reptiles love to eat. When the hatchlings are released, the next step is making sure they're surviving, thriving, and multiplying.
Find it.
And that's when our four-legged friend here comes into play.
Good. Get over.
Spotting them out and giving the signal.